Welcome to the 100th Monkey Experiment, presented by the Dream Society. Every Monday night, we present the 100th Monkey Experiment. The 100th Monkey Experiment is to do with the critical mass and collective consciousness. And it's a free-form sort of stream of consciousness program, a philosophical, metaphysical reality show. So it's come to our attention about the 100th Monkey Experiment that parts of it may not be true, and also that it may have been created by the Illuminati. So in hearing this a couple times over the last couple of weeks, I've decided to look that up and read to you what I have found on the internet. So the first place that I found is called monkeyilluminati.com. So this is what it says. What is the 100th monkey effect? From Wikipedia, the story of the 100th Monkey Effect was published in the foreword to Lawrence Blair's Rhythms of Vision in 1975. The claim spread with the appearance of Little Life Tide, a 1979 book by Lyle Watson. In it, Watson repeats Blair's claim. The authors describe similar scenarios. They state that unidentified scientists were conducting a study of macaque monkeys on the Japanese island of Koshima in 1952. These scientists purportedly observed that some of these monkeys learned to wash sweet potatoes, and gradually this new behavior spread through the younger generation of monkeys. In the usual fashion, through observation and repetition, Watson then claimed that the researchers observed that once a critical number of monkeys was reached, the so-called 100th monkey, this previously learned behavior instantly spread across the water to monkeys on nearby islands. This story was further popularized by Ken Keyes Jr. with the publication of his book, The 100th Monkey. Keyes' book was about the devastating effects of nuclear war on the planet. Keyes presented the 100th Monkey Effect story as an inspirational parable, applying it to human society and the effecting of positive change. Since then, the story has become widely accepted as fact, even appears in books written by some educators. The 100th Monkey, a story about social change by Ken Keyes Jr. The Japanese monkey, macaque fukaska, had been observed in the wild for a period of over 30 years. In 1952, on the island of Koshima, scientists were providing monkeys with sweet potatoes dropped in the sand. The monkey liked the taste of the new sweet potatoes, but they found the dirt unpleasant. An 18-month-old female named Emo found that she could solve the problem by washing the potatoes in a nearby stream. She taught this trick to her mother. Her playmates also learned this new way, and they taught their mothers too. This cultural innovation was gradually picked up by various monkeys before the eyes of the scientists. Between 1952 and 1958, all the young monkeys learned to wash the sandy sweet potatoes to make them more palatable. Only the adults who imitated their children learned this social improvement. Other adults kept eating the dirty sweet potatoes. Then something startling took place. In the autumn of 1958, a certain number of Koshima monkeys were washing sweet potatoes. The exact number is not known. Let us suppose that when the sun rose one morning, there were 99 monkeys on Koshima Island who had learned to wash their sweet potatoes. Let's further suppose that later that morning, the 100th monkey learned to wash potatoes. Then it happened. By that evening, almost everyone in the tribe was washing sweet potatoes before eating them. The added energy of this 100th monkey somehow created an ideological breakthrough. But notice, a most surprising thing observed by these scientists was the habit of washing sweet potatoes then jumped over the sea. Colonies of monkeys on other islands and the mainland troop of monkeys at Takasakiyama began washing their sweet potatoes. Thus, when a certain critical number achieves an awareness, this new awareness may be communicated from mind to mind. I'm going to read that again. Thus, when a certain critical number achieves an awareness, this new awareness may be communicated from mind to mind. Although the exact number may vary, this 100th monkey phenomenon means that when only a limited number of people know a new way, it may remain the conscious property of these people. But there is a point at which, if only one more person tunes in to a new awareness, a field is strengthened so that this awareness is picked up by almost everyone. Again, I'm going to read that again. But there is a point at which, if only one more person tunes into a new awareness, a field is strengthened so that this awareness is picked up by almost everyone. So this is what I found when I was researching more about the 100th monkey. And so this is pretty positive. Again, this is called the monkeyilluminati.com. So, you have your opinion. You can do research and see what makes sense to you. This is the 100th Monkey Experiment, and on Monday nights we bring this show to you, presented by the Dream Society. We believe in a collective consciousness and the power of the collective consciousness. So I was just reading something that I found on the internet regarding the 100th Monkey phenomenon, just for you to ponder that. Again, I don't say yes or no, wrong or right. You say what you think. And if you would like to comment, please do so. So I'm going to go back and see what else I had found. And we can read that as well. We also talked about the human consciousness experiment on one of our episodes here. So I'm going to read a little bit about that again. This is from a website called godlikeproductions.com. You gotta love that name. And this is their take on the whole 100th monkey. 100th monkey effect, the human consciousness experiment. For those of you who don't know, the 100th monkey effect is a supposed phenomenon in which a learned behavior spreads rapidly from one group of monkeys to all related monkeys once a critical number of initiates is reached. By generalization, it means the instantaneous spreading of an idea or ability to the remainder of a population once a certain portion of that population has heard of the new idea or learned the ability by some unknown process currently beyond the scope of science. We all should know that it's how we perceive reality that shapes it, and if you didn't know, I would suggest this physics website. And the website is www.khanacademy.org. So that looks like the khanacademy.org. There's a lot up to quantum physics, but the lowest level, like particles, anything and everything isn't really there at any given time. It all acts very chaotic, but it's only when we humans observe atoms that they act in a more uniform manner. After you come to find out about matter in itself is just an illusion, and it's your consciousness that keeps it all together. You can now think more freely, and so knowing this, we're going to try to create an event. First off, let me say, if you can't see it as a possibility, then it's not going to happen. If you can't even imagine a good outcome, or even an outcome at all, then it will not happen. In this experiment, all you have to do is come up with a way in which this could happen. Easy enough, just a bit of mental pushing. You must see and believe it, as in you truly see it that it could play out that way. You know as possibility. Now, if you would like to play along, let us continue with the experiment. If you have read this much, thank you. You could make a change in the world, so here's where you come in. I will lay out below some information. Information is just information until you give it a definition. Make this believable to you. See it as likely outcome where it happens, and we will see what happens together. Good luck to all of us, and here is to the real golden age. Toth. So, again, I mentioned that in researching different viewpoints on the 100th monkey effect, phenomenon, experiment, and that was a comment on the 100th monkey effect, the human consciousness experiment, and that was posted on godlikeproductions.com. And so I found that to be pretty interesting information. I would love to hear what your opinion is, so please comment and share. That is the whole point of this program, The 100th Monkey, to be the change that you want to see in the world. So, of course, it starts with you, but you want to share as well. So, you can listen live to the 100th Monkey experiment on Monday here on UBN, Underground Radio Broadcasting Network, at 9:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We may be changing that time to a little bit earlier. We shall see. Sort of experimenting with the time slot right now. And if you missed the live show, you can always find the show in the archives. The show archives available after the show airs. And would love to hear your comments, whether they're live on the air or in the archive. If you happen to be listening and you want to call in, it's 702-751-0020. You can call in and comment on what is being presented here. Information on the 100th Monkey, 100th Monkey Effect, 100th Monkey Experiment, 100th Monkey Phenomenon. Just shared two websites with different perspectives, which turned out to be fairly similar actually. So we're going to choose another one and see what we get with that one, because the whole idea is to bring different perspectives. So randomly choosing websites to share with you. I don't know what these websites say beforehand. I'm just randomly clicking on them and reading them to you, and then we'll see what the relevance of that is. So we're going to read Wikipedia's definition of the 100th monkey. So the 100th monkey effect, not to be confused with the infinite monkey theorem. The 100th monkey effect is a studied phenomenon in which a new behavior or idea is claimed to spread rapidly by unexplained, even supernatural means from one group to all related groups. Once a critical number of members of one group exhibit the new behavior or acknowledge the new idea. The theory behind this phenomenon originated with Lawrence Blair and Lyle Watson. in the mid to late 1970s, who claimed that it was the observation of Japanese scientists, one of the primary factors in the promulgation of the story, is that many authors quote secondary, tertiary, and post-tertiary sources who have themselves misrepresented the original observations. Popularization of the effect. The story of the 100th monkey effect was published in Lyle Watson's foreword to Lawrence Blair's Rhythms of Vision in 1975 and spread with the appearance of Watson's 1979 book Life Tide. The account is that unidentified scientists were conducting a study of macaque monkeys on the Japanese island of Koshima in 1952. So you heard about that, what happens on the island. We talked about that earlier in the show here. But it's interesting, just the first paragraph here, where the 100th monkey is defined by Wikipedia. I'm going to scroll down here because there's a bit saying how the effect is discredited. So we like to present both points of view. So let's read what they say about the effect being discredited. An analysis of the appropriate literature for Ron Amundsen, published by the Skeptics Society, revealed several key points that demystified this supposed effect. Unsubstantiated claims that there was a sudden and remarkable increase in the proportion of washers in the first population were exaggerations of a much slower, more mundane effect. Rather than all monkeys mysteriously learning the skill, it was noted that it was predominantly younger monkeys that learned the skill from the older monkeys through observational learning, which is widespread in the animal kingdom. Older monkeys who did not know how to wash tended not to learn. As older monkeys died and younger monkeys were born, the proportion of washers naturally increased. The time span between observations by the Japanese scientists was on the order of years, so the increase in the proportion was not observed to be sudden. Claims that the practice spread suddenly to other isolated populations of monkeys may be called into question, given the fact that at least one washing monkey swam to another population and spent about 4 years there, and also the monkeys had the researchers in common. Amundsen also notes that the sweet potatoes was not available to monkeys prior to human intervention. So, I think the focus isn't on whether or not it was fast or slow, but do you believe in the collective conscious? And since we are in an accelerated age, I think that we can move more rapidly if we choose to. But that's my opinion, and I'd rather hear your opinion. So please chime in. Again, this is the 100th Monkey Experiment presented by the Dream Society. Dream Society, collective consciousness, collective lucid dreaming. We believe that dreams are the gateway to multi-dimensional awareness. So would love to hear from you as to any comments you might have on the subject of the 100th monkey, the 100th monkey experiment, the 100th monkey effect, the 100th monkey phenomenon. What do you think about the critical mass, collective consciousness? Been sharing with you different points of view on this subject. Maybe we'll do one more just to round things out. Let's see what David Icke has to say on the subject. I see that there's something here by them, and it might be interesting. So this is davidicke.com. And it says, this is interesting. Okay. This says Sisyphus and the 100th Monkey by David Icke. Posted in The Awakening. This was on the 2nd of April, so today is the 7th, so 5 days ago. Last evening, in an exchange with a dear friend, a former Silicon Valley bulb, now a dedicated schoolteacher by choice, I lamented the seeming futility of what I do in my spare time, sending out these informational emails, when he commented on the incorrigibility of this sheeple mindset and the reluctance, inability of these people, many highly educated, to see through the fog of disinformation. I responded thus: such is the state of our world. Alas, when I hear from folk who've thrown in the towel and feel sympathy for me for banging my head against a brick wall with my missives, I simply respond that to me giving up is not an option. I'm a firm believer in the 100th monkey theory. We're a smidgen away from reaching critical mass. If we all simply gave up, that 100th monkey shall never awaken, and they would surely have won. So that was written by David Icke, again, in The Awakening. That was on April 2nd, 5 days ago, on his website, davidicke.com. So what is your opinion about 100th monkey, critical mass, awakening? Love to get your feedback. If you'd like to call in live, you can at 702-751-0020. Or if you're watching this in the archives, you can please comment on the information you heard here. Let us know what you think about it. Want to hear your opinion. Please share. So again, the 100th Monkey Experiment, presented by the Dream Society. Dream Society believes in the power of the collective consciousness. And the 100th Monkey Experiment is a philosophical, metaphysical reality show where we just randomly choose a topic and explore it. Sometimes we have live guests in the studio. Sometimes we do call-in. Sometimes we're live in the street. So tonight we're here in the studio. We may have a guest drop by, but right now we're just exploring the idea of the 100th Monkey and getting different points of view from different websites and sharing them with you. We have this broadcast live every Monday evening at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. So if you'd like to tune in and listen live, you can do so on Monday nights. Otherwise, you can catch it in the show archive if you're not able to watch live. Since we're the Dream Society, I'm going to share with you a little bit about dreams and lucid dreams. The Dream Society, manifesting your dreams is only a night's sleep away. So we believe that if you can take control of your dream state, what happens in your dream state, it's such a powerful state, the unconscious mind, that you can create and bring that into your waking reality. Some people argue that we're asleep during the day and we're actually in the real world while we're dreaming. So that's an interesting concept. What is your opinion on that? Love to find out. Love to hear it. So I'm going to read a little excerpt about seeking citizens to launch advanced internet civilizations. This was written back, I believe, in the early 90s, and I'm not really sure who the author is, but I found it interesting. I'm going to share it with you. Seeking citizens to launch advanced internet civilizations. Among the world's 2,500,000 internet users, there must be at least 250,000 mature civilized adults who understand the urgent need for drastic changes in our world. If we are to create a future generations with values, we must learn to work together. The popular press and news media are constantly reminding us of the innumerable problems of our ancient inherited social systems and the need for prompt corrective reforms. If we are to survive global overpopulation and resource depletion, we must work together. Among 250,000 responsible adult net citizens, there should be at least 25,000 leaders who would be willing today to lead this organization towards peace, prosperity, and transformation. The time is now, and change requires grassroots efforts. I therefore recommend that you read between the lines and see that this is a chance to change the planet. Citizens, take the initiative and begin posting in local news groups announcements of and information of local email groups dedicated to the prompt local implementation of all needed global reforms. I'll go on in a moment, but I want to pause here for a moment and remind you that this was written back in probably 94, 95, right when the internet was just really starting to get going. So they're talking about 2,500,000 internet users. We know that number is even larger now, so we know that the reach is that much more magnified. So keep that in mind. I'm going to read on a bit here, just... The immediate objective of these email groups will be the identification of local civilized net citizens and their subsequent organization. The intermediate objective of these email groups will be the implementation and testing of those modern new economic, civil, social, religious, political, and standard systems which their future cities will require for successful operation. In addition to organizing local email groups, these 250,000 leaders and their followers should also promote the creation of local and regional news groups entitled. These moderated news groups will serve as local and regional internet bulletin boards for the posting of ideas, suggestions, announcements, and offers needed to hasten the common achievement of their ultimate objectives. Until a permanent moderated global bulletin board is created for this purpose, promoters could use an existing unmoderated group, such as some vacant used group, Good Luck and Have Courage. Then it ends with all the evil needs to succeed is for good people to do nothing. Anyway, as I mentioned, this was written back in the early 90s. It's called Seeking Citizens to Launch Advanced Internet Civilizations. Do not know who the author is. If they ever show up, I would love to give them the credit for this, and love to hear your opinion on this subject. Keep in mind that we have exponentially grown in the internet and technology. We now have apps and smartphones and all this stuff, so our reach is even greater. And it talks about a permanent moderated global bulletin board, and we are the Dream Society, and we broadcast here on Underground Radio Broadcasting Network, and it is definitely a global platform. So we thank Underground Radio for being that satellite of communication on a global scale. So I want to thank you for listening tonight, and if you're listening in the archives, thank you for checking us out. Please comment, listen live every Monday night. Check the show schedule at www.unradio.info, and you can see the upcoming shows. As I mentioned, we may be changing the show time from 9:15 to 8:15 in the evening Pacific Standard Time. So see you next time on the 100th Monkey Experiment, presented by the Dream Society.